Maybe I'm in the wrong career.
Was that in that move to Rentokil, was that your first move onto that level of position?
A really good way to differentiate yourself as an effective lawyer is to have the courage to be candid. You need to have built credibility, you need to have built trust, you need to have a personal connection with the person. I learned a lot, and that was the first time I really interfaced with the CEO and the CFO, it'd be for about 6 hours a week.
Yeah. I guess it's like you're exercising a muscle, or you're exercising the skill of being and doing that and serving in that way.
Yeah, and it can feel alien, but you just need to give it a go. Mm-hmm. Befriend someone in the finance function and ask them to explain how the P&L works. The advancements of AI, absolutely a hot topic, with an element of fear of getting it wrong as well.
It must have been some interesting Sunday night dread.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome back to Lessons I Learned in Law. This week I'm joined by Rachel Canham, who is Group General Counsel and Company Secretary for Rentokil Initial, which is a FTSE listed organisation. Now, Rentokil has got operations worldwide in 90 different countries, and Rachel's responsible for that, and a legal team of around 70 people. We talk about her role. This is her first position in an executive role. Prior to joining Rentokil, she spent 10 years at BT in exposed to various different parts of that business. Was heavily involved in the company's acquisition of EE. So we speak about how that was such a pivotal moment in her career. And we talk about how she prepared for that step up into her first executive position, how she's leveraged using an executive coach, how she found her executive coach and made that choice. And we talk about perspective as well, and how important that is for people at all levels in their working life, and the impact that having a good perspective can help both your personal life and you be a better lawyer, a better operator within a business. So loads to digest. It was great to have Rachel. We're chatting on the day that she is addressing the haggis at our charity Burns night tonight. So I look forward to that later on, and I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. So let's go. All right, guys, I want to interrupt today's show with a quick word from our sponsor, Wordsmith. So most legal tools that I've seen in the market, they're built for law firms, but Wordsmith isn't. It's specifically built for in-house legal teams. So the general counsel, the legal ops function, the people that are basically keeping the rest of the business moving forward and running. So the idea with Wordsmith is that your team and your AI agents, they all work from the same connected picture of every single job, and they've got the context that they actually need to get it completed. Legal stops being the bottleneck, and it starts being the thing that powers everything else about the business and drives things forward. It's built by former lawyers and technologists, and the Financial Times, Autoglass, BT are already using it, as well as a growing and never-ending roster of new clients. So if you want to find out a little bit more or signal an interest, then head on over to wordsmith.ai. There's a link in the notes below. Thank you. So hi Rachel, thanks for joining us on Lessons I Learned in Law. Thanks for the show.
Welcome to the show. It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's a day where it's a lot of time spent talking today. You're doing our address to the haggis tonight at our Burns supper. How are you feeling about that?
I can't wait.
Yeah?
I cannot wait. There's going to be some drama.
Yeah, really? Oh, good.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's such a brilliant night.
Good.
And in need of such a good cause, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice. Well, thanks for getting involved, and good to have a Scottish accent delivering the Burns, the address to the haggis. So yeah, look forward to it later. So I've given a brief introduction to a bit about your background and your role, but if you could start just by telling us from, in your words, your current position, a bit about the business and team size and function, that would be ideal.
Yeah, happy to do that. So I am Group General Counsel, Company Secretary at Rentokil Initial.
Yeah.
And we operate in 90 countries across the globe.
Right.
just under 60,000 colleagues across the globe. And I have been doing that now for 4 years.
Okay.
The team size is about 70, a little bit more if you include some of our claims managers in North America. And it's great.
Nice.
I love it.
Cool.
Love it.
And sitting on the executive team.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I sit on the executive team, reporting into the CEO,
Okay.
and then with a dotted line to the board and the chair as well.
Nice. And with the COSEC and General Counsel function, how do those, like, what's the sort of split in terms of your time of doing those, or are they fairly one job together?
It's a good question. I never really think of it as a split. Often I'll be thinking about legal and corporate governance issues side by side.
Right.
So I never really view it as a split, but I do spend a fair amount of my time on the board-facing work. Maybe about 40% of my time doing that, 60% legal.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And the team that you mentioned, so is that what's the structure of the legal team? Is it jurisdiction by jurisdiction or centralised function? How does it operate?
Yeah, so we've got a regional model at Rentokil. So it mirrors that in that I have general counsel across each of the regions reporting into me, and then also a team of central lawyers. So there are people who manage data privacy, people who are responsible for our M&A and commercial contracting, and also a deputy company secretary as well.
Nice. And prior that role, prior to Rentokil, where was your previous position?
I was at BT for about a decade.
All right.
I really enjoyed my time there. Nice. And had the pleasure of doing a variety of roles. So started off as a senior commercial lawyer, and then I headed up the M&A function and led on BT's £12 billion acquisition of EE, which was a real turning point in my career.
Okay.
I learned a lot, and that was the first time I really interfaced with the CEO and the CFO. You know, it'd be for about 6 hours a week.
Yeah.
So that was a fantastic learning experience, and it really opened doors for me. Then after that, I was company secretary at BT for a while and general counsel of BT's enterprise division, so the B2B division.
Cool. Some amazing alumni in BT's legal team. Gone on to some really cool, interesting roles as well. Was that in that move to Rentokil? Was that your first move onto that exec? That level of position. That
was the first time in the hot seat, in the top role, where the buck stops with you. It does feel different,
right?
In a good way, and it takes a while to adjust to that, to being in the top seat and having ultimate responsibility. And now that I'm accustomed to it, I couldn't change it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, cool. How did you prepare? Was there anything you did in the lead up to joining to prepare for taking on that level of responsibility?
I spoke to so many other group general counsel in my network, and people are really generous with their time. So I took lots of people out for coffee and lunch, picked their brains, and I used a brilliant executive coach. And before using this executive coach, I was probably, if I'm honest, a little bit sceptical about the value add. I used him 2 months prior and 6 months into me doing the group GC role.
Right.
And he was fantastic.
Okay.
And he was, independent, in complete confidence. I could speak to him and rehearse conversations and strategies. Yeah. And he was instrumental, actually, I think, in supporting me into that.
Yeah. How did you, if you don't mind, how did you select that individual? Like, what are you looking for in a coach?
I'd say I'm quite a straightforward person. And I didn't want someone who did the traditional coaching, whereby, and I've trained in coaching, so whereby you ask lots of questions to facilitate the person working out the answer for themselves. What I quite like about him is he's very experienced, and, he provides support to CEOs, people in government, etc. The way that he would help is he would be quite direct around, this is the downside if you do this.
Right.
I think I'd recommend that you consider why.
Right.
So he'd be quite a straight shooter, which really works with my personality
Right. Yeah.
type, and he'd come highly recommended from people that I really trust as well.
Yeah. I suppose when he operates like that, he needs the gravitas, credibility, and as you
Of
said,
course.
like people, that he's been there and done it to challenge in that way. Nice. Cool. And what did you use it 2 months before, and then at 6 months, or during the course of
During
that?
up to the
Right.
6 months,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Very good. All right. Well, we'll jump into the lessons. If you could share lesson number 1, that'd be great.
Sure. So my first lesson is the benefit of perspective.
Okay.
And I've learned this personally, as many people have. Life isn't always straightforward, is it, Scott? You know,
Yeah.
we have our ups and downs, our personal struggles, personal grief, loss. And I lost my brother. He died when he was 31. And it was a really, really tough time for me, for my family. The benefit of these things happening, whether it's a death, another loss, a personal struggle, is that going through that adversity really gives you the benefit of perspective. And I think that really helps you with your work, because when you've been through difficult real life challenges, you're able to deal with business issues in a calm and objective way. And I think that's what really makes a standout lawyer.
Yeah.
Nobody wants their general counsel in a mad panic or a flap when there is a crisis. And I've really used that to my advantage. And everyone will go through challenges. They may not have been through them yet. They may have been through many. And I'm a different person and a different lawyer as a result. And it's really helped me grow.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, when work is really busy, when it's relentless, when there's lots going on outside of work, there is something that I do that really brings this perspective to life.
Right.
And it might sound a bit daft, but I'll share it in case it's helpful.
Yeah, please do.
So I will, imagine myself in my office, or I'll imagine myself at home. Then I'll imagine my neighbour sitting at home. I'll imagine the person in the office next door in their office. I'll imagine everyone in the street in their offices and homes. I'll imagine everyone in Surrey, where I live, in their homes or at work. I'll imagine everyone in England getting on with their lives and dealing with their own problems. I'll think about everybody in the UK, everybody in Europe, everybody in the world. I'll imagine that I'm up in space and I'm looking down at the Earth and all of these different planets, and I think about the problems or difficulties that I've got to solve at work or in my personal life. And it makes you just go, oh, actually, in the grand scale of the entire universe, this is solvable.
Yeah.
And this will pass. And it really helps you have that clarity of thought.
Yeah.
So I do tap into that, and I find it really, really helpful.
Right. I'm doing that. Like, do you think, like, with that, that's a kind of practical exercise, but like gaining perspective or getting perspective, do you think it's something you can learn, or is it acquired through experience?
I think it is two things. I think there's an element of it being innate, this ability to be objective and perhaps cold when you're looking at a problem, to come up with the best solution. And then there is also the experience of going through a difficult problem. And sometimes it's all about, you know, judgment, but being a fantastic legal team and a brilliant lawyer is not all about applying the law. It's about your judgment. You're paid for your judgment. And so the ability to, it's a mixture of common sense and a mixture of being able, sometimes when it's difficult, to pick the least worst option and being comfortable with that and knowing it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that does come with experience.
Yeah. There's an element of like there's self-awareness involved in that as well, where having had the experience, then where within what's been the biggest impact you feel having that greater perspective with the loss that you spoke about? What's been the greatest impact to your career or generally life?
I think I've got really high empathy and an ability, and it was enhanced through this loss, of thinking about stakeholders and people widely and how they feel. I also think that, being completely blunt, a lot of the issues that I deal with, nobody has died. So it gives you the ability, when people are panicked, the stakes are high, there's a big crisis at work, to take a few deep breaths, think it all through, think strategically, come up with the best way through it. And I think I'm much better at that as a result than I was before.
Yeah. And then as a team, like, do you talk about perspectives and different is it language you use in the team at Rentokil?
Oh, absolutely. I think the sort of culture that I like to foster is to be vulnerable and talk about difficult things that have happened to you. It makes you a real person. And it probably makes people come to me and talk to me more about things. And I think when people feel safe, there's a lot of science behind it. If you've got a workplace where people feel safe, everyone is happy and fulfilled and performs at their best and does the right thing for customers.
Yeah, for the right reasons. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that one. This podcast, Lessons I Learned in Law, is an extension of The Lodge, which is Harriet Brown's dedicated in-house legal recruitment community. That's a community for lawyers by lawyers. It's a peer-to-peer learning network where lawyers can lead and learn about fulfilling careers. Alongside recruitment, we also run events, roundtables and programmes that help lawyers lead fulfilling careers, and this takes place throughout Europe and the US. And the goal of that is simple. It's to help lawyers connect, learn from one another in a safe environment, and to continue to progress in their in-house legal career. So if you'd like to be part of The Lodge, that dedicated community, then the details are in the show notes, and we look forward to welcoming you in. Thank you. We'll move on to lesson 2.
Lesson 2 is the power of candour.
Okay.
So we touched upon this a little bit earlier when I said I'm a pretty straightforward person.
Yeah.
A really good way to differentiate yourself as an effective lawyer is to have the courage to be candid.
Right.
And that is not always easy. And before you can deliver that candour, you need to have built credibility, you need to have built trust, you need to have a personal connection with the person. Part of my job is to be able to speak the truth when it is difficult to people in very important positions, whether it's the chair of a FTSE 50, CEO of a FTSE 50. And they might not like to hear what you've got to say, but there's a real power in doing that, and they then know that you've got their back. And the more that people move up in an organisation and get to the CEO role, there are fewer and fewer people who will be absolutely straight up and candid with them.
Right.
And I think it builds trust. And it's part of our job. It's part of your job to do the right thing for the company, to do the right thing for shareholders. And it's not always easy.
Yeah.
And there were times where I've said, quietly, and you'll work out how best to do it. It's not illegal, this thing that you want to do. I wouldn't do it.
Right.
This is why I wouldn't do it. It looks bad because of A, this could happen, that could happen. It's not illegal. I really wouldn't do it.
Right.
Here's why. And sometimes when you say that, you won't get oh, thanks, that's really helpful. You might get pretty strong emotions back.
Right. How do you deal with that?
Well, you just need to remember that you're doing your job, aren't you? Yes, you want to find solutions and way through things, but sometimes you've got to be candid and you've got to be able to share your thoughts, even if they may not be well received at first. And often when I've done that and I've had a negative reaction, a week later you'll get a thanks.
Thank you. That's good. It comes eventually. That's good to hear. When when did, or how sorry, you spoke about like building up the credibility. What proactive steps do you take to ensure you're in that position, so when the time comes to be candid, you can be?
Yeah, and the credibility comes through. That takes time. It's an investment of time. There's all of the obvious stuff like, being responsive, knowing your subject matter, doing all of that in a fantastic way. Being there when the stakes are high. Being a human being. It's you have credibility not just by being good at your job, but being a human being. And that's underrated, I think, a lot of the time in business. Get to know the person that you work with. Get to know them as a whole holistic person. What do they do outside of work? What are their children's names? What do they do to let off steam? What are their values? What do they care about? What are their fears? Because sometimes the occasions when I've had to step in and have those candid conversations have been when it's a fear that's making them be pushed towards a certain position. Yeah.
And has there ever been a time where you've regretted being so candid, or it's come back to bite you?
I've not, no, because I think it's the way that you do it. So it's not about being rude and direct and blunt. It's being candid alongside that relationship that you've built with trust and loyalty and having their back.
Right.
So it comes from absolutely a genuine place of wanting the best thing for them.
Right.
And I think if you provide both of them in tandem, there shouldn't be any regret. And there's been several occasions where people have said, thank you for your candour.
That's good.
Because no one else has said that to me.
Yeah.
And I needed to hear it.
Right. So if you were hiring someone into your team, and would that be something you would look for? How could you assess something like that? Because it is one of those things that takes time to build. What do you look for?
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. I can work people out reasonably quickly. And I will when I'm interviewing people for roles. I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but there are certain questions that I will ask, and you can tell from body language and examples. You can ask people, if this situation happened, what would you do? And you can tell from their answer and their body language and eye contact whether what they're saying is the truth or not.
Yeah, nice. Do you watch the Traitors?
I do not watch The Traitors. No. I've heard, however, that I am in the minority.
Yeah, it's a big thing. No,
do you watch it?
I watch it. I've started watching this season a little bit. I watched the first season and I fell out of it, but it's sounds like the skill set of a good you'd have a good nose for sniffing out the traitors as well.
Maybe I'm in the wrong career. Claudia Winkleman.
Yeah, exactly. We did it for our Christmas. There's a traitors experience in Covent Garden. We did it as part of our Christmas party, which was good. It was good fun. Yeah, a little bit. Is it too much by calling your colleagues out for lying or trying to pull the wool? But it was good fun.
Just a quick break in today's show just to tell you a little bit about a new group that we've created within the Lodge, our dedicated community for in-house lawyers. One thing that we hear from a lot of legal leaders that we speak to is that hiring and managing a team of lawyers is almost more difficult than being a lawyer itself. And some of the mistakes that we hear about in the podcast is that this is something that's been underestimated by the lawyers that step into those management roles. It's always seen as the next step in your career. It looks like obvious progression to build an empire, to build a team. But the hiring, the motivation, dealing with performance issues, that's never really something that comes up in technical legal training. And that's why we've created the Manager's Room, which is a group that sits within the Lodge, and it's designed to be a peer network where you can gather insights and share your own insights from what it's like to manage within your organisation, and to share that with a wider group of like-minded managers. So if you're interested in finding out more and contributing to that and paying it forward, then head over to the link in the show notes below, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
If you could share third and final lesson with us, please.
my third lesson is about becoming a strategic leader. And the reason why I think this is important is because, you know, sort of when I started my legal career 15, 20 years ago, it was all about lawyers should be, you know, technical experts. They should know their area inside out. And then about a decade ago, people started speaking about being business partners, and particularly when you're a lawyer in industry rather than in a law firm. You know, let's all be business partners. Let's partner with the business and enable them to do things, and we won't be blockers. And lots of people still talk about this, and I just don't think that is the space that lawyers in industry should be operating in.
Right.
It's very passive. It's very them and us. It's very, we'll advise the business. The business will make a decision. And I like to speak about being a strategic leader. And I think the difference is when you're a strategic leader, you don't need to manage people to be a strategic leader. When you're a strategic leader, you're not the referee.
Right.
You're not the bystander watching the game. You're in the trenches. You're playing the game. You're trying to score the goal.
Right.
And by that, I mean the purpose of the legal function is to deliver the strategy. And we just happen to be lawyers. So that happens to be our skill set. Or we happen to be COSECs, or we happen to be compliance professionals. That's the skill set that we bring. Fantastic. But like everyone else, we are here to deliver the strategy. And to be brilliant at that, the way the legal function should be viewed is it shouldn't be have legal signed off on that, which I think is a bit business partner-esque. What does Rachel think? What does John think?
Right, yeah.
What's their view? What's their judgment on this? And I think to get comfortable, some people really struggle with that because we've obviously got professional regulatory obligations, and of course they're paramount. But you need to get comfortable with that inherent paradox and the ambiguity of you give advice, but also you're part of the team that are making the decision and implementing. And you're in the trenches and you're scoring the goals as well.
Yeah.
And you've got to have skin in the game. And I think that paradox for some people is too uncomfortable.
Right.
And I go as far as when people in my team sort of say, they speak about, oh, you know, well, when I moved in-house or I'm an in-house lawyer.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this in-house you're talking about? You know,
Yeah.
because you don't, it sounds so other. And I think you don't sort of hear people, you don't hear like a CFO say when I moved in-house.
Yeah. They're just
To be an in-house
or-
accountant or people in IT, they're not like the in-house IT function.
Yeah.
And speaking about the business, I always just say we should speak about our business or our organisation and what we're doing, not they and them and us.
Yeah.
And
It's the same language as like my internal clients.
I don't like that at all either. We are all in it together. And I guess going back to your earlier question around, reporting line, the way that would all be the correct way, reporting into the CEO with a dotted line to the board, is if you are that person who's and team who are just always involved and right there at the beginning because you get stuff done, and yes, you've got your expertise, but you contribute beyond just legal. And I think that's the other thing I often say to people when they're starting out in their careers: just be curious and ask lots of questions and have views on things that aren't legal, because often if you're in a meeting and you don't have a clue what's going on and you ask a question, there's loads of people who don't know the answer or wish they'd asked the question.
Yeah.
And it's a very comfortable way to tip your toe into the waters of getting comfortable of acting beyond the lawyer.
The lawyer, yeah. How much of it's like culture of the business versus and how legal's viewed versus like the controllable that you can control as to how you're viewed or how you're and what did you inherit when you went to Rentokil? Was there changes that had to be made?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, which is why I always say to people, do your diligence before you're joining an organisation and you're working, in industry as a lawyer. Always, always do your diligence, because you can turn a ship, but it takes time. And then it's also the way that the GC behaves and their relationship with the rest of the executive team. And so I do think it is still possible to come in, and even if legal or well respected, you can come in and push things up a notch to be in that strategic leader space.
Yeah.
And then when you're there, that's when it is really exciting. And you do that in any role. You don't need to be the GC to be a strategic leader. You can be working on a bid for a big customer contract, and you're a strategic leader when the sales lead and the managing director all want to know your thoughts on something that's got nothing to do with law.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's key to have that presence, and I guess it's like you're exercising a muscle, or you're exercising the skill of being and doing that and serving in that way.
Yeah, and it can feel alien, but you just need to give it a go. You know, befriend someone in the finance function and ask them to explain how the P&L works, and how do you provision for litigation, and how do you work out contingent liabilities, and how's the budget all pulled together. And it's when you understand all of this and you think through that mindset of, you know, where are we versus budget, where is our revenue, what's our consensus, and you use that language, you just have instant credibility and this understanding that you're viewing things through a commercial lens as well, not just risk-based lens.
Yeah. I found when I was a lawyer, I felt sometimes when I was a lawyer in practice, though, the training, I feel like there's an assumption that you should know, even at a junior level. I don't know if it's maybe just me, but that ability to ask questions, or I discouraged, or I felt like there was an assumption that you knew stuff that you probably didn't know at that stage of your career, where you're coming out of university into a training contract, and about business and even about the legal aspects that you're advising on. So I don't know if it's trained.
I do think that does, it can impact you. I mean, the first place that I worked at, Dixon Minto, really encouraged asking questions, and sometimes in quite an intense way, in that this is way back in the day, 20 years ago, there'd be something called the bulletin, which sounds very old-fashioned because it was 20 years ago. And on a Thursday or Friday, every trainee would be given like a wad of 100 pages of case law, printouts from practical company law of what had happened in the prior 2 weeks. And then on the Monday morning, you wouldn't know who'd be asked to discuss it, but it would only be trainees in front of the partners and in front of everyone to talk about it. And everyone would ask questions, and you'd be encouraged to also be quite open and say, I'm not sure about the answer to that. What do the more experienced people in the room have a view? And that is terrifying, but also a wonderful gift, because it's instilling in you the responsibility for asking questions, because the questions you'd be asked on the morning wouldn't just be what was in those 100 pages.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic, Rachel. You've read about like how to do a share buyback. The first question, why would a client want to do a share buyback? And you're like, that wasn't in the article. So I quickly learned to think through what are the next obvious questions.
Right, yeah.
And that has stayed with me, this inquisitive, curious nature, with an element of fear of getting it wrong as well.
It must have been some interesting Sunday night dread.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So we're going to try our segue into our round of hot or not. So for the legal industry, so I'm going to throw 4 or 5 statements out. These are either designed to be controversial or fence issues. If you could give a yardstick on whether you think it's a hot topic or something that should be on legal's radar or not. And if you feel it justifies it, then a rationale for why. So we'll segue into that. Things I've seen at legal conferences, and maybe on repeat sometimes. But so the future skill set of the lawyer or the in-house lawyer, future proofing your legal career. Is that hot or not? Not hot.
Well, you probably tell from my facial expression.
Why not?
Future-proofing the skill set of lawyers.
With AI, with the advancements in AI.
Okay. The advancements of AI, absolutely a hot topic. I'm spending a lot of time looking at that this year. We've rolled out internally at Rentokil a new AI platform called Rat GPT.
All right. Go on.
I've been using it a great deal.
Okay.
And actually, it's pretty amazing.
Right. Nice.
And
Who's behind that?
At Rentokil, our wonderful Chief Information Officer, Mark Purcell, is behind it.
Cool.
And it's also possible to create your own avatar.
Okay.
And you can communicate with them as though they are the General Counsel and Company Secretary
Nice.
of a listed business.
Right.
So they will review your content through that lens.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating. So
And
general skill set of lawyers know
Mm-hmm.
the impact of AI
And using
on the legal profession.
it.
Absolutely, that is going to be
Okay.
key. And it's interesting as well, the level of engagement is different generationally.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually block time out in my diary to make myself use
Right.
our Rat GPT.
So-
Because you only
Amazing.
learn through doing. Well, I do. You've just got to
Yeah.
have a play around.
Mm-hmm.
And it is pretty impressive and pretty spot on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good.
And we have even used our own internal secure AI platform to check things like what's the market reaction likely to be to these financial results tomorrow. It's obviously on our secure platform,
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
go anywhere else. It's very helpful if you're an IR professional, if you're the comms lead, to see from this 50-page release with all of your financials, these will be the key points.
Okay.
And it's also helpful to do that because the analysts will all do that when you put it out at 7 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's helpful to see when you're drafting it. If they use their tools, this is what's going to be pulled out as the key messaging
okay.
at 7 a.m. when people decide whether to
Right.
hold, buy or sell their Rentokil
Okay.
stock.
Yeah. Good for posturing and getting ahead. It's like I think you're totally right in terms of carving out the time, and it is tight. Like that's the thing. It's not as great as the product and the software is. There's so much time that goes into learning it and applying it a lot of the time. I think that's often people looking for the magic wand. It takes quite a lot of work in order to get the answers that you're looking for as well, and get it shaped up. Okay, legal must sit on the C-suite in a business. Non-negotiable. Is that
Absolutely non-negotiable.
non-negotiable?
But interestingly, I don't view it as a hot topic because in my view, that's already settled.
Okay. Do you think? Is it? Not in every organisation.
It maybe depends on the industry, specifically as well, whether it's a startup, privately owned, a small company.
Yeah.
But you do see bigger businesses. I mean, I remember a long time ago being approached for a legal role, like a GC role for a big business, reporting into the CFO.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. You don't have independent thought, and it says a lot about the view of legal.
Yeah.
If they're going to report into finance,
Yeah.
that raises alarm bells for me.
How would you advise someone that was looking at that, how they could construct a reason for why it shouldn't report? It should report elsewhere.
I think the main reason is that to perform the duty of the legal function, legal needs to have an independent reporting line. And of course that's typically, yes, it's directly to the chief executive, but they also, in a listed company environment, need to be able to go directly to the chair if there's a difference of approach,
Yeah.
a difference of view in what's happening. So what advice would I give to someone as to how to argue for it? It's a good point. It's a very good question that nobody's ever asked me, have you come across this before? Is this more common? Maybe I'm
yeah, I
naive.
think in sort of earlier stage businesses or less, non like FTSE listed entities. I think it can come up. It's often. Yeah, it's the way it's been done, and I think in that stage it's difficult. It's a difficult point to argue from the start. I think, it kind of has to be. There's a bit of earning it at that point in time, and it's probably difficult to argue the other way.
Well, I guess the point is that if legal's going to report into finance, as an example, then that just sends a very strong signal that legal are a sort of box ticking team.
Yeah.
And so the best way to argue for the right reporting line is to talk about the value that legal are going to bring and the changes that can be made. But that's tough. That is tough. I guess the reason I'm struggling with it is because wherever I've worked, that has never been the case. And I've been very, very selective about where I've worked. And I do a lot of diligence on what is the view of legal within the organisation at the moment. How does the CEO view legal? How does the CFO view legal? I will ask them and ask around, because that is it's hard to change. It's not impossible, but that's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's challenging. I know at that point, if it's something that they've done and it's been their structure, there's no CEO that's wanting another direct report desperately or asking for it. So you do have to. I think there has to be a bit of talking and negotiating, and speaking to the right person who's able to make that decision. It might not be the CFO who doesn't want to give up the role or the function. In that time at BT, and interested because I had a conversation with someone who was in a larger organisation, had been there 6 or 7 years, hadn't came up for air in that period of time to look at what the next thing might be. How many approaches or how many things in that period would you have considered? Would you say you seriously considered or looked at?
In terms of approaches from outside the organisation?
Yeah. Because in an organisation like BT, there's so many, and that's like multinationals and blue chips. There's always internal moves and that keep that interesting.
Yeah, and I think, look, throughout anyone's career, you will be approached by people, and it is sensible to have, a network of a few search firms who know you and who you trust, so that when you are thinking about other opportunities, they already know you. So I think I'm very big on relationships anyway, so having those relationships, I think, is a sensible thing. I was so lucky at BT in that in 10 years, I had 4 roles in 10 years. So I was constantly given the opportunity to grow and learn and develop. And as long as I'm surrounded by people who are interesting and I'm growing and developing and learning, I was quite fulfilled and happy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's good to have that level of contentment for sure, and be challenged as well is really important. And then finally, lawyers. It's important for lawyers to have a professional or personal brand.
Hot. However, I don't think I like the concept of it being your brand, but I do think that every lawyer should know, this is my strength, this is what stands me apart from other people. So I guess that is your personal brand. For some reason, the expression personal brand makes me cringe a little bit.
It is cringe.
But it is very important that everyone is able to articulate, this is what sets me apart from other people.
Yeah, and being able to storytell and then,
give examples.
Get the buy-in and the value. Yeah, no, I agree. It is a bit cringe. But I think being a bit more visible and deliberate about, like you said, like storytelling and the value add and what makes you different, your USPs is valuable. All right. Well, we'll finish up there. I like to ask a question to finish up on, which I'll spring on you. If Rentokil is awarded the legal team of the year, what's your walk-on song? If you're asked for a walk-on song to collect the award.
I love this. Well, it's going to have to be the song that I wanted to have for the Burn Supper.
Right.
But it didn't quite work, which is Belter by Jerry Cinnamon.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Love that song.
That's a good one.
And we are all belters in the Rentokil Initial legal team, which for those of you who aren't Scottish means someone who is like outstanding and exceptional.
Fantastic.
So yes, that's what we would have playing.
Yeah.
We won that award.
Excellent. I'll put a link to it in the in the show notes. That'd be a good one. It's a good one to get upstanding to. I thought it might have been the Boomtown Rats or something along those lines, but yeah, that works. That works better. Brilliant. Well, thank you. Thank you for being game and taking part, and it's been great to sit down and chat about it, and really look forward to tonight as well, and and watching the success of the business at Rentokil and the team as well.
Thank you, and pleasure. Nice to talk to you.
Nice chatting. Cheers, Rachel.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you've enjoyed the podcast or you've taken anything of value from today's conversation with today's guest, then the best thing you can do is give us a follow on our LinkedIn page, Lessons I Learned in Law Podcast, and to subscribe and give a quick rating to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really does help it travel and get shared amongst the wider community, and you never know, it could help someone in their career at some point in time. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you again. Thank you.